who, as I mentioned, is, if nothing, the world's strongest Red Sox fan, but also a decorated Harvard University professor, a very talented and recognized journalist, and also author of the Pulitzer Prize-winning best-selling book, A Problem from Hell, regarding U.S. policy toward genocide. She's going to talk a little bit about the unconventional threats that Susan just laid out and why the conventional way of dealing with them is so insufficient given the nature of those threats. Samantha?
We've heard from Tony and Susan about just how captivated all of us were upon meeting. I'll just say a word about that. I've never had the opportunity to have season tickets to the Boston Red Sox before 2005. And in April, I got a sliver of somebody's tickets. I got 20 games. And then I met Barack Obama. And in our first meeting, which was supposed to last half an hour, but lasted 4 hours, by the end of it, I heard myself saying, inexplicably, but explicably, well, why don't I just quit my job at Harvard and come and move to you and work in your Senate office and do whatever you want? And I came home and I had my tickets. You know how you put your tickets up on the fridge. I thought, wow, I must really love Barack Obama. That was it. They were my season tickets and a sliver of season tickets. Tony and Susan have both touched upon a couple things. The moment, the urgency of this moment, and the importance of having an unconventional, fresh, pragmatic, unifying, unbeholden approach. It takes all of those things. To be beholden to old school thinking, to go along with the herd just because it's popular, or just because it's always been done that way. There are certain things that are, quote, not done in Washington. As it happens, the way that Washington has worked for us of late is not getting it done. It's not actually tailoring policies. The establishment is not tailoring policies sufficiently to meet 21st century threats. We all know in our own lives how we can develop habits and just continue living according to those habits and not revisiting those habits in accordance with new facts, new details, a new world. And so to have somebody who's actually capable of kind of looking at the world as it is and not the world as it used to be is incredibly important. Just two really, I think, important examples of why Obama is the guy for now, as Susan has suggested. First, the precise nature of these unconventional threats require an inclusive foreign policy, bipartisan foreign policy, and a unified domestic base. We will not be able to deal with global warming. We can have all the plans in the world unless we can mobilize the American people around changing our energy usage habits, unless we can change our driving habits, unless we can each be part of the solution and not simply the lamentation. There's a lot of disillusionment with foreign policy right now as a whole. A lot of backlash, a lot of we want to come home, we want to retreat, we don't like what we've been led to do and led to be. Somebody's going to have to rehabilitate engagement. And Barack Obama can go out and can talk in town halls, talk to the American people, rally them again behind what we need to be, which is an engaged and credible global leader. The conventional Washington thinking, as we know, has led us into the war in Iraq, led the herd to follow the administration, not ask difficult questions. It has been oft mentioned that Barack, when the war in Iraq was debated, that he stood up and that he opposed the war in Iraq. But I think it's really important to go back and remember that moment and just how popular that war was. Just the kind of political risk a political candidate was taking. It was more important for Barack Obama to exercise judgment and to look at the facts and to say, you know what, this actually doesn't sound right. This sounds like a rash war. This sounds like a dumb war. To study the history of Iraq, to look at the nature of the threat, and to decide that it wasn't a sufficient threat to risk American lives. That was a politically unpopular act as well as an unconventional act.